In the headlines, activities paralyzed, patients groan as resident doctors begin strike. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission investigates Zamfara governor for alleged 70 billion naira fraud. Police arrest 2 suspects over attack on U.S. Embassy staff in Anambra. And on the foreign scene, Russia launches unprecedented air attacks on Ukraine's capital, Kyiv. Hello and welcome to the news update on Trust TV. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for joining. And now the details. Patients groan as National Association of Resident Doctors at Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Teaching Hospital begin 5 days warning strike. Adamu Imam reports that only few consultants are attending to patients. The report.
Activities at the teaching hospital from the main entrance up to the premises have been paralyzed due to 5-day warning strike. Usman Shehu, a patient referral from Federal Medical Center Azare, says the strike has negatively affected him and many others, while appealing for the parties involved to resolve their differences and end lingering strike action, as patients are the ones suffering from it. Please, the resident doctors should look at our condition and exercise patience, while the government should also meet up their demands.
It is rather unfortunate because we have pregnant women inside the maternity ward ready for cesarean sessions with no doctors. We are appealing to them to call off the strike.
And today, the ward round is expected to commence early in the morning. But in our ward here, the surgical ward, we can only see one doctor. She has been battling since in the morning. Since in the morning, she alone. And she's expected to finish this thing on time. But she was still telling me that probably by 6, she will still be here checking patients.
It happens like that. But I feel that I don't know their problems, but I feel that the government should see to their needs so that they will come back. Actually, it's not easy for patients to stay without the doctors. They're really helping.
The association acknowledges that members comply with the action, stressing that they collaborate with the hospital management to provide other means of helping the patients during the strike.
This issue of increase in salary that we have been talking about, this is something that's supposed to be overdue. The salary is supposed to have been reviewed like 2 times by now. We are still talking about it. The Medical Residency Training Act that has been signed is a law. But if you look at it, if we are following our demands, almost every day we have to fight for it, or we have to give an ultimatum before the government pays for it. So while we should be optimistic that probably with the new administration we have to give them benefit of doubt, probably they can be able to address most, if not all, but most of our demand.
The striking doctors agree on the action they took, saying their carry-over demands will be pursued with the incoming administration. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Meanwhile, the Federal Ministry of Health is set to launch a community-based health research, innovative training and services program to enhance posting of resident doctors to rural areas. This initiative will address the required skilled birth attendance services in primary health care facilities across the 36 states of the Federation, plus the Federal Capital Territory in a phased manner to improve access to health services within the benefiting communities. The report.
The availability of skilled health workers in primary healthcare facilities at community levels is critical to curbing maternal, perinatal, neonatal, morbidity and mortality. But the goal to attain adequate healthcare workers is still underway. But the CRISP Innovation, a partnership between teaching hospitals, federal medical centers, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, state primary healthcare boards, local government health authorities, and communities, is aimed at provision of support to attain adequate healthcare workforce at primary healthcare centers. The Executive Director, NPHCDA, Dr. Faisal Shoaib, says the intervention focuses on increasing, retaining, and improving the quality, adequacy, competency, and distribution of a committed multidisciplinary primary primary healthcare force that includes facility outreach and community-based health workers supported through effective management supervision and appropriate compensation.
This means that decreased resident doctors from the engaged teaching hospitals and federal medical centers will be deployed to the primary healthcare facilities to support service provision and on-the-job capacity building of primary healthcare workers.
The country representative World Health Organization, Dr. Walter Malumbo, said the initiative is timely as the WHO has declared the end of public health emergency of international concern for COVID-19 pandemic and is insisting on a collaborative approach for all key interventions because pandemic starts in communities and ends in communities. Hence, reliable data, evidence, policies and actions are needed.
Calling for member states to consider lack of access to vaccination as human rights violation. Women dying while giving birth should be reported as human rights violation.
Also, the UNICEF country representative Christian Monduate, who was represented by the Chief of Health, Dr. Eduardo Saladas, noted that neonatal mortality has not been reduced, and despite the problems, less than 5 mortality is still prevalent where 1 out of 10 children die before the end of 5 years.
For pregnant women having access to a skilled birth attendant during the moment of delivery, the national average is 51%, so it's 1 out of 2 women. But however, this hides a lot of inequalities within different states and even within the states.
The community-based health program focuses on addressing the human resource for health gaps in primary healthcare centers across community levels in the country. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Presidential Election Petition Court on Thursday heard the application by the People's Democratic Party and its presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar to allow for the live televising of the ongoing election petition proceedings. Parties to the petition adopted their processes and agreed that documents certified by the Independent National Electoral Commission will be tendered without objections. The PDP and Atiku, through their counsel, Chris Uche, SAN, had prayed to the court for an order allowing the live broadcast of the proceeding due to the monumental importance of the case. The petitioners argued that Nigerians, being stakeholders, have a right to have a real-time information about the election petition proceedings. All the respondents to the petition, namely INEC, the President-elect, Bola Tinubu, and the All Progressives Congress, vehemently opposed the application. After hearing the arguments from all parties, the court stood down for 5 minutes. In the meantime, the Nigeria Labour Congress on Wednesday said it has disowned Lamidi Apapa of the Labour Party. In a statement, the secretary of the NLC Political Commission, Chris Uyot, described Apapa as a meddlesome interloper. The statement said that Lamidi Apapa is being used by the reactionary forces to deny Nigerians the benefit of an alternative political thought, an organization geared towards genuine national redemption and transformation. It said that the shameful conduct of Apapa at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal has once again brought to the fore the desperation of certain elements in the political class to deploy all manner of subterfuge and criminality to divide and despoil the massive goodwill currently being enjoyed by Labour Party all over Nigeria. The statement said that it was unfortunate that Apapa has continued to act lawlessly as an impostor, ascribing to himself a vague status as the chairman of the Labour Party and claiming to represent the Nigeria Labour Congress. The Zamfara State chapter of the All Progressives Congress, APC, has set up an 11-man committee to investigate allegations of anti-party activities during the last 2023 general elections among members. The 11-member committee is chaired by the party's State Publicity Secretary, Yusuf Idris, while Ibrahim Majis serves as secretary. The state chairman of the party, Tukur Damfulani, who inaugurated the committee on Wednesday at the APC State Secretariat in Gusau, charged them to thoroughly study all allegations leveled against anyone and recommended and recommend measures to be taken against them. The party chairman disclosed that already the state secretariat of the party has copies of petitions against some of the members. He urged the committee to handle its assignment without fear or favor, but in the interest of the party and by the provisions of the party's constitution. Fulani assured that the party will reclaim the stolen mandate, which, according to him, was deliberately robbed the party by a cabal operating in the state. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission says it is currently probing Zamfara State Governor Bello Matawalle for alleged 70 billion naira fraud, hence his attempt to cast aspersion on the integrity of the anti-graft agency. The anti-graft agency also confirmed that a former Minister of Power, Saleh Mamman, who was recently arrested by the operatives of the Commission over alleged 22 billion naira fraud, is still in detention. The chairman of the anti-graft agency, Abdurrashid Bawa, who disclosed this at a press briefing at the headquarters of the Commission, urged Nigerians not to be swayed by Matawalle's recent outburst. Bawa, who spoke through the Director of Public Affairs of the Commission, Osita Nwaja, explained that the Commission was not supposed to dignify Matawalle with a response, but it did in order to set the record straight. The police command in Anambra State has said that the preliminary investigations conducted following the Tuesday attack on the U.S. consulate convoy in Ogbaru reveals that 7 persons were killed. Of the 7, 3 were U.S. consulate officials and 4 mobile police escorts. Speaking further on the development on Thursday, Anambra State Commissioner of Police Echeng Echeng said that a joint security task force comprising police tactical teams from the state command and troops of the Nigerian Army and Navy raided the suspect's hideout camp in a community within Ogbaru local government area. According to him, the security operatives, upon arrival at a deserted camp, which was razed down, arrested 2 persons of interest who are currently under interrogations by the police. During the press briefing at the State Police Command headquarters, Amabwa, the Commissioner of Police in the state, Echeng Echeng, stated that the victims, 5 male officials of the U.S. consulate and 4 armed mobile police escorts from Lagos, were on a mission to assess the impact of erosion in Ogbaru local government area. The police chief said that further investigations are on the way and findings will be shared with the public in due time. Activities of social miscreants in Katsina, locally known as Kauraye, have been creating worry and anxiety among residents. For over a decade, the Kauraye groups have been unleashing reign of terror, killing and dispossessing unsuspecting residents of their belongings. In recent weeks, some suspected members of the Kauraye groups have been snatching phones and robbing residents of Katsina City. Abdullahi Amadi has details of the report.
The activities of Kauraye have worsened in recent times, recording their attacks, wounding and killing their victims, especially within the metropolitan area, without fear of any consequences. The most worrisome is the increasing involvement of young children into the heinous crime, robbing people, raping women in broad daylight or in the early hours of the night. Even recently, Katsina State Police Command had paraded 72 suspected members of the Kauraye groups arrested from various locations across the state. This may be the reason Governor Aminu Masari constituted a committee with a mandate of bringing the activities of the elements to an end.
The committee has been doing very well. We are able to reduce to a large extent the activities of these miscreants, especially drug abuse, and this youth that used to attack people, dispossess them of their belongings, especially handsets and what have you. So you can see, based on the outing and the array of achievements outlined, we should be grateful to God. That's how we came to brief His Royal Highness and seek for His blessing.
The Anti-Kauraye Committee is engaging all stakeholders to make their inputs on the best ways to arrest the monster without recording much casualty in the process. This same committee had successfully checked the activities of Kauraye during Salah festivities, leading to the arrest of killers of the mother of DPO Damusa, apprehended large quantity of illicit drugs among many other successes. The above Katsina Abdulmumini Kabur Usman attributed the menace to lack of proper prosecution of criminal elements, as well as abandoning traditional norms and values and decay in moral values. We have allowed our values to deteriorate because of some selfish reasons or interests. Issues like this can be checked through payment of levies and taxes. Our traditional system has taken care of everything, but it was neglected. The earlier we revert to it, the better. The committee is partnering with Dahiru Usman Bauchi Foundation in Katsina to rehabilitate drugs addicts and reintegration into the productive society. Observers are, however, blaming the growing menace to the negative conduct of some selfish politicians who often use and dump thugs to the detriment of the society. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at how Nigerians struggle to cope with daily needs amidst high cost of living. Details and more after the break. Welcome back. Let's take a look at the top stories again. Activities paralyzed, patients groan as resident doctors begin strike. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission investigates Zamfara governor for alleged 70 billion naira fraud. Some aggrieved youths in Maigana, Soba local government area have raided a police station and killed a suspected motorcycle thief. Security sources explain that Sani Adamu, aged 25, from Haying Iche village, was suspected to have convinced his cousin Abubakar Haruna, aged 20, to carry him on his motorcycle to a nearby village where he hit him on the head and subsequently slaughtered him before stealing his motorcycle. The source added that the aggrieved youths descended on the police station in hundreds and overpowered the few officers on duty, despite tear gas and sporadic shooting in the air to disperse them. The resident of the area stated that Sani Adamu, who was known to be a motorcycle thief, was a nephew to the slain Abubakar. He said that after slaughtering the victim, some Fulani women who cited what transpired quickly informed a member of vigilante group in the village, who instantly called his colleagues at the neighboring village. The suspected thief was later apprehended at the next village and handed over to the Maigana police station. Now, high cost of living has again come to the fore as residents of Benue State cry out to the incoming government at the federal and state levels to change the situation. Jimmy Azande reports that residents are no longer finding it easy to cope with the daily needs because of the high cost of goods and services. The report.
I want government to do something about human being and human everything with the human, so that everybody must be there. Because now it's not one person supposed to be there. Everybody's supposed to be there based on human being.
Like Pascal Hanfa, many residents of the state are lamenting what they describe as the unbearable cost of living. At the markets, the traders are lamenting poor patronage occasioned by lack of money or its depreciation value. They said it is no longer business as usual for many families.
One of the transportation and all these people who gather for say produce whatever they call it. They don't keeping up prices, billing. They don't have normal price of billing. Sometimes they collect. Just some place man they'll call you. Come on, one motor like this 1911 that carry car, they will call you like 30K. You want passing to how much you will pay for you before you reach. And all these things now like this now for the honor of the peace. and they'll count everything, and you pay everything. That's last you come and calculate. You know how business you come calculate how far, how much you come be, how much you say and give. All these things they inside. One of the things that really make our things.
This condition now, things hard us well. Or you buy goods now, you need to say amount where you buy now a problem. Everything is to cost. Just to manage life. We need the government help us for here so that they will make our business boom for us.
Families have adjusted their living standards to suit the tough economic realities, yet it appears things are not working.
Even to pay my children's school fees now, man, it's hard. For me, my work what I do, this Okada, you know what I do. Sometimes I get like 2,000 naira a day. This 2,000 naira a day, I get a day. Sometimes before I sell like 1,000, spend like 1,000 naira, but now only 500 naira they sell. Spend like 1,500. So the two costs my way. So even though if you get money, man, the money no they get value. You get like 10,000 naira now, before you know the 10,000 will finish.
The residents also lamented that the Benue situation is aggravated by the non-payment of salaries and pensions to public employees in the state. With this development, they directed their complaints to the incoming government. On May 29th, Nigerians will have a new president and 28 new state governors. Many Nigerians who are worst hit by the troubling economy are hopeful things will change for the better.
The Borno State government has introduced a new dress code for Muslim students in government secondary schools across the state with effect from first term of 2023-2024 session. Bukar Mustafa Umara, Director, Schools Management, State Ministry of Education, stated this in a statement in Maiduguri on Thursday. He said under the dress code, every student must always wear a trouser, quarter blouse, head tie and himar in school. The director said all principals of secondary schools have also been directed to ensure total compliance to the new dress code. According to him, the dress code is compulsory for all Muslim female students in all secondary schools in the state. He added, however, that for the Christian female students, it is optional. The International Monetary Fund on Wednesday approved a $3 billion loan for Ghana, a West African country in the midst of a severe economic crisis, with the first immediate disbursement of about $600 million. The program, endorsed by the IMF board, is spread over 36 months under the extended fund facility. Fund Managing Director Kristalia Georgieva, quoted in IMF statement, said that the fund's aims at restoring macroeconomic stability and debt sustainability, as well as implementing wide-ranging reforms to build resilience and lay the foundation for stronger and more inclusive growth. She added that an ambitious program of structural reforms is being put in place to revitalize private sector-led growth by improving the business environment, governance and productivity. The IMF had announced last Friday that Ghana had provided sufficient guarantees to benefit from an aid plan welcoming the recent promise of its creditor countries led by France and China to open negotiations for the restructuring of its debt. We'll take a short breather, and when we return, we'll take a look at the stories from the foreign scene. Welcome back. Now, on the foreign scene, Ukraine said that unprecedented air attacks had rocked the capital and other cities early on Thursday, while a missile strike killed at least one person in Odessa. Russian Agricultural Minister Dmitry Patrushev on Thursday said that Russia's grain export will be between 50 million and 55 million tons in the 2023-2024 season. Speaking at a televised government meeting, Patrushev said that Russia's 2023 wheat crop was seen at 78 million tons, adding that 93% of winter grains had made it through the winter in normal condition. The Kremlin said that on Thursday that a decision to freeze the bank accounts of Finnish embassies and consulates in Russia was a response to what it called the unfriendly acts of the collective West, including Finland. Officials from Finland and Denmark said that on Wednesday that the diplomatic bank accounts of both countries in Russia had been frozen, prompting their embassies to make payments in cash. And that's it for the news update. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for watching.